Welcome to another episode of Sanctuary Radio. This is a podcast brought to you by Sanctuary Recovery Centers. Our mission is to break the stigma surrounding addiction, to empower others to live addiction-free lives, providing hope to those who suffer from addiction and offer continued care and true healing.
Well, welcome to another episode of Sanctuary Radio. And I want to introduce my co-host, Haley.
What's up, everybody?
I thought you were getting the braces off. I mean, what happened to that? I thought you were going to look your age today, but you still look 14.
I know. Tuesday.
Tuesday, you're going to get them off.
Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm super excited about it. So.
Okay.
I tried to get them off early, and they said no.
They said no?
They said no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, they weren't going to have that, huh?
Right.
They said you need to get the rubber bands in there and keep them dialed in.
They said Tuesday. That's your date.
Tuesday. So on our episode today, we have our very own Casey Cox on the show today.
I'm so excited.
Welcome, Casey.
Hi.
So Casey is a BHT for us. She does transport, and anytime we ever call her, one of my favorite things to do when I ask her to do some transport stuff for me is I say, hey, we have some transports to do.
Right, like you're going to be helping.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, so I'm doing these things, right?
And I go, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, though. I appreciate you. And so she's on the show today, and we couldn't think of a better guest to have on. Every single person who works for Sanctuary has a story, has a passion for it. For the most part, our passion comes from the things that we've been through, our lived experience, the addiction. I mean, you got some lived experience, Haley.
Just a little bit.
What's a little bit, like percentage-wise?
I mean, like I'm almost 30 years old, so
You're aging yourself
I feel
right
like
now.
that's okay. I feel like I have a lot of life to live, but I have some experiences.
Yeah, you got lived experience.
Exactly.
And so Casey has a lot of lived experience as well, and that's what brings her here to us, the passion she has, the drive, the heart, the heavy heart that we all have. And so let's hear about her story today, and that's the whole point about this, because every journey starts somewhere.
Yep.
So you were born in Prescott. Let's hear about that, because what's Prescott like?
So it's a very small town. It has a lot of mountains in it, I guess, retirement community and treatment center community. So they mesh them together kind of. And it's just, there's a good side of it and then there's a bad side of it, and it just depends on what side you're on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was definitely on like the druggy bad side, and I hated it there.
You didn't like it there?
No, not at all.
Prescott's so beautiful.
It is.
I used to go up there for church camp every year.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were
So
going
there's that side of it.
I thought you were going to say treatment side.
No, no church camp every summer.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's the Frontier Days rodeo. It's the oldest rodeo, rodeo in the world.
PBR.
Yep. My dad's won a buckle there.
Oh, he got that buckle.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Fancy.
Yeah.
And so, your story, it comes from a lot of trauma. Both your parents were addicts, in and out of prison, mental health. You moved around a lot, all the trauma that comes from that. You witnessed a lot of fighting and just so many different things. So I want you just to take a moment just to kind of talk about what it was like, the family dynamic, and some of the things you experienced growing up, because that plays a part as we get older, right? These learned behaviors, the trauma that we carry, because the drugs and alcohol become the solution to the problem.
Right.
It's the negative emotions we carry, the guilt, the shame, the embarrassment, false belief system that we have. Some of us didn't have good examples growing up, so we don't know any better, and that's why we have to change everything. But why don't you talk a little bit about what that was like for you?
It was really hard because so both of my parents are addicts. So my dad was a drug dealer. He was super angry all the time on meth, and my mom was just in love with him, like all she wanted to do was be with him, and he did not want that anymore, and they start popping out kids. There's me, my little brothers, Zach and Cody. And so they both go with other people. They go with my grandma and my stepmom, soon to be. And I stay with my parents, and it's just fighting. I wake up in the middle of the night. It's just smoke. You can't see anything. It's like tables breaking, if they were even there, honestly, and it just sucked really bad. I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, that wasn't normal.
Right.
It wasn't how it was supposed to be. Other kids didn't live like that, dirty, didn't have clothes, And so it was just, but now today they did the best they could. I know that today, but back then I didn't see it as like that at all.
Man, so when we look back at those things, and as we start to work a program recovery, as we start to understand that maybe they were doing the best with what they could at the point.
Or when you become a parent yourself.
Yeah, I mean, because you popped out a couple kids too, Haley.
Only 4.
Only 4?
Only 4. Come on.
They're cute.
Sometimes.
I love them.
Yeah, they're cute. And so, when we look at those things, they start to become the behaviors and the patterns that we learn, because when you talk about your mom just wanting to be with your dad and loving him to a fault and all these different things, now when you get older and, because I know your story and I met a guy or a girl.
That's how it always starts, Jason.
Yeah, it goes either
Every
way.
time.
And you've met guys and girls too.
100%.
100%.
My older sister was a lesbian, is a lesbian, and she always tried to convince me I was. So, had a lot of experiences.
So you had to test drive that theory a few times?
Apparently.
You have to.
Yeah.
Why not?
And
Good
so
times.
what ends up happening, though, is, your parents are in and out of prison. You bounced around a lot, all over Prescott. I mean, you were all over the place up there. And then ultimately, a real turning point comes from, you move in with your grandma, right? You move in with your grandmother and, you don't like her very much. So why don't you talk about that time period, what the real turning point I'm referencing is, and what that was like living with your grandmother?
Okay, so she had my little brother Cody, and that was like her little cowboy. My she's really old school, she grew up in Wickenburg. Shout out Haley, whatever.
Oh, Wickenburg.
Yeah, we found out
That's where
like
she was
our
born.
grandparents knew each other from Wickenburg.
Oh,
so.
I've just connected the dots. I mean,
That's
it
why
all
we get
makes
along
sense.
so well from day one.
Yeah, it
I
makes
remember
sense.
when she came in for her interview.
Yeah.
I did her first interview and Yolanda did her second. So
Okay, Wickenburg, stand
yeah,
up.
exactly.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's where she's
Wickenburg's finest.
Wickenburg Wranglers, shout out.
from. No, but she's a good woman, she's just very old school. She didn't have girls. She raised 2 boys, and I was already like a traumatized little girl. Like I didn't know what I was doing, and so her pride and joy was my little brother Cody, and then I was just like, she wanted me to be this rodeo queen, like out there riding horses every day, and I ended up hating it, because I had to go feed the horses every morning, brush them, ride them, do all this stuff before school, not before school, but like feed them and stuff, and I started to really hate it. And the more I pushed on her, the more she pushed back, and it was just like butting heads all the time. And, she did the best she could too, but there was a lot of trauma from that too. She didn't know how to speak to people correctly, I guess. There was a lot of yelling and screaming, and, I just wasn't who she wanted me to be, I think. And, I rebelled, and I didn't find my sister. She came back a little bit into my life, and I just clung to her. I wanted to be just like her. Anything she did, I was going to do it
Is she your
too.
older sister?
Yeah, so she's older. I think I don't really know, which sucks, but I think she's like 7 years older. And
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I think her birthday's in September. I don't remember the day. I just know she's like 7 years older.
Okay, she's an older sister.
Yeah.
Kind of like, my sister's about 4.5. So.
You know her birthday, Haley?
Casey's birthday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or my sister's birthday?
Yeah, your sister's
Well,
birthday.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I used her ID growing up, so
Yeah, so
I know.
there's-
That's why I know it's 7/21/89.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We just talked about
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Same birthdays.
Exactly.
7/21. Yeah.
Same birthdays.
So
Wickenburg.
I'll never forget Casey's birthday ever again.
Yeah, you'll never forget ever again. But ultimately, it comes to points, so you're butting heads all the time, all the trauma you experienced growing up, abandonment that you must experience from your parents and the trauma.
I just
and
wanted them,
and
I didn't want my grandma. I wanted my mom and my dad, and they weren't there.
and they weren't there. And so that trauma continues. And so ultimately, we end up, finding drugs. And so you end up stealing some pills from your grandmother. Is that how this thing whole starts?
Yeah,
Or-
so like army crawling on her floor to steal the pills, and she would hide them. She would always hide them in different places, and I would always find them. Like they were behind an earring box, or they were in a pill, like in an old pill capsule mixed in with other pills, and I would fish them out of there and find the blue ones, And it was just, this is what we did. We'd pawn her stuff, and it's really shitty to think about, but we'd pawn her jewelry. Just whatever my sister wanted me to do, I would do,
Yeah, and so, she has to hide them because she knows you're getting into her
Right,
stash.
she tries to hide them very well, but we'd always, I'd sniff them out like a little dog.
Like a hound dog.
I would
We already
where-
know.
Yeah, exactly. I would think, where would I hide this? You know what I mean? And I would find them all in different places, and just, it was a thing.
And so we start doing, morphine right off the top. Are we talking about the red 60s or
No,
the
I remember
blues?
them being the blue ones,
Oh, the blue 100s?
Yeah.
Oh, the big dogs.
Yeah, I think so, because she has a lot of medical problems, so it's like she had the good stuff.
So
She
so
did.
we start doing pills, and the progression of our disease happens pretty dang quick for you.
Yeah,
And
it
so
sure
it
does.
continues to get worse. It continues to get worse. You're using with family members, right? And then all of a sudden now we start throwing relationships into the mix.
Yeah, it's always the relationships.
Guys or girls.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, anytime.
Did you graduate high school?
No, I dropped out.
Oh, you dropped
sophomore
out.
year, I was already shooting up, so it was just didn't go together,
Yeah, that
at
doesn't
all.
go together.
Yeah, you're not really thinking about your education.
Yeah, I'm in the bathroom trying to get high.
Right.
Yeah, so
So you drop out of school and, you're in and out. I mean, because the consequences that come from addiction, especially, pills and shooting up and heroin and everything that comes with that, there's always consequences. And so you found yourself in juvenile just a couple times, or how many times?
There was a lot. I lived there. All the little, I think they were called DOs, detention officers. They loved me. I was always in there. They're like, you're back again. And I would make funny faces in my mug shot and make them retake it all the time. Like, it was that kind of relationship,
Oh, so you were there constantly.
Yeah, I was there a lot.
Do you remember the first time that you got sentenced to some juvenile time, and when you walked in there, were you scared? Was there anything that stood out to you when you first
It's funny because I remember being scared. Like, I was definitely kind of scared, but people have always liked me, Like, they always, not necessarily want to take care of me, but they see something in me that I didn't see in myself. So they kind of helped me out a little bit. But I remember going in there and all these girls were talking about drugs, and I knew drugs, I knew what they were talking about, and these were my kind of people, so I wasn't scared after that. Every time I went back, it was like I'm home, like I'm back. It was a fun laugh, and everybody's like, oh, she's back again in the chow line,
in the chow line.
Yeah, in the chow line. The food was really good, by the way. It wasn't like prison food.
It wasn't like prison food?
No, not at all. They fed us pretty good.
Yeah, at least they feed our juveniles good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes we got a cookie, so
we were good. Sometimes they got a cookie.
Sometimes we got a cookie if we were good.
Let me ask you this, Haley.
Yes.
Your juvenile self, how do you think you would fare in prison, juvenile detention center?
I don't know. I was a fighter back then, so I probably would have gotten a lot of fights.
What do you mean back then? Is there something changed over the last weekend that I don't know about?
I haven't gotten any fist fights, let's put it that way, since I got sober. Yeah. But yeah, I used to fight all the time. Like, I didn't give a shit. If you looked at me sideways, you were getting punched right in the nose. I didn't care if you were my grandma, if you were my sister. I swear to God. Yeah. Me and my grandma got in a physical altercation. She cut me with a plate. I had to get 8 stitches right here.
Yeah, you probably deserved it.
Yeah, well, it was a family brawl, so.
Oh, it's just a Sunday barbecue?
It was, in my mom's
Sunday,
restaurant.
this is what we do.
Exactly. But yeah, I used to be a fighter, so I think I would fare okay. But now, like, if I ever went to prison, I would definitely wife up, 100%.
Yeah, that's what they do. Straight up. You get a boo thing, make some bowls.
Even if I didn't want to, I feel like somebody would still make me their bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
It kind of happens like that.
Yeah, that probably happened.
Yeah.
And so you're in and out of juvenile, the relationships, your family relationships are really non-existent. We're in it, you're in active addiction. I mean, in active addiction, we're incapable of having any sort of meaningful relationship, even if we had some that could have been there. We're so selfish. Right. It's just impossible to do those types of things. And so your relationships are continuing to suffer, and you're in and out of juvenile. And then finally they send you to your first treatment center. 16 years old, you go to your first treatment center. And what was that like?
They sent me there because I'm a runner. They labeled me as a runner. And
she's a runner. She's a track star.
Yeah, so basically.
Jason's got a good singing voice.
He does.
Did you like that? Did you like that?
I'm going to have to hear some more.
No, we're never going to do that again.
He says never again.
Just like your red rum thing. Don't do it. Don't do it.
No, okay.
Don't do it.
He's like, never again.
I will never sing again.
Oh,
never sing again.
So they label you as a runner, and you're in treatment. And so, if you're in striking distance of any drug dealers or any men or any old stomping grounds, you're going to run. So they send you down to Phoenix, right? And so you land in the treatment center out here. And what was that like when you touched down out here in Phoenix?
It was different because they thought I wouldn't run because I was somewhere I didn't know. And then I met a girl, it wasn't a sexual relationship, but we hit it off, and she started talking about her life and how she knew her boyfriend lived right down the street. He was getting high still. And I was like, bet. You know what I mean? Like, when are we leaving, And so we did. We hopped the fence. Well, no, because they had alarms on the window, so we cut the alarm or whatever we did.
Cut the alarm? You on some Ocean's 11 type stuff?
Yeah, basically with the razor blade. No,
Shawshank Redemption type thing?
Yeah. So we cut the alarm. We snuck out the window, ran I felt like it was miles. We just kept running. Like, they weren't even chasing us. And we just ran as far as we could to the light rail. And we're borrowing phones. Nobody's answering. And then her boyfriend finally comes to pick us up. And this is when shit got weird. It was the meth kind of weird that you're just like, you can't unsee it.
You were like in a polygamous relationship?
No, I wasn't involved in it at all. But there was definitely a camera.
There was some methy stuff going around.
Yeah, there was some methy stuff going around. And it was just like a shock, because I had experienced that before. But this was just weird. It got really weird really fast.
So it got weird really quick. And, then ultimately, what ends up happening is you end up back in juvenile because they catch you after a period of time because they're looking for you, right? You got sentenced from juvenile to a treatment center to stay.
I'm on the run, full blown run.
Yeah, you pull a pre-dawn heist, escape, right? They're not even chasing you. You're on a full-on
running
sprint.
that nobody's chasing us. We're running. We're booking it, you know?
I get that.
Yeah.
Anytime we ever leave from treatment, it's usually never a good idea, especially when we meet someone, we know them for about 45 seconds when we're waiting to take our lithium, you know, or, our Seroquel or
whatever it is.
whatever in the med line. And now all of a sudden, next thing you know, we're gone. We got this bright idea. I mean, you show up and it's, weird to say the least.
Yeah, got weird.
You ever got any weird moments, Haley?
Yeah, I was a meth addict. The whole thing was weird.
The whole thing was weird. Okay.
But I know exactly what she's talking about. Going from a small town to the bigger city, it's like
it was huge.
It was just way weirder out here.
Super weird.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
It's like normal weird for them, but for me, I was just like, what?
Yeah,
is
what's
happening?
going on?
Trying to play it cool, get high, back like I'm okay, Yeah, but I had to get out of there. So that's where that guy came in.
Yeah.
31-year-old.
So
I
you
was 16,
So you met a guy, right? And so how's that end?
Just ends bad, abuse, trauma, chasing me down the street with a crowbar, hitting me. It was just bad. I thought I was in love with this guy, It was just not looking back. It was just sick. It was very, very sick. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I was very lost, And, yeah.
And so love's an action word, man. It took me a really long time to figure that out. And when you've seen love and been shown love in a way, that's the only way you know how to express love or what it should look like or how you should be treated if somebody loves you. Your whole childhood, all the trauma and everything that comes with that, we have to learn these things later. When I was in prison, I used to call my girl, right? My wife, she's amazing. Shout out. Yeah. And, I would ask her to send me some money, right? All the time, right?
And she didn't?
No, she always sent it. Yeah, bless her heart.
It's been nice.
Yeah, bless
I
her
love
heart.
Ashley. She's the best.
Bless her heart. But I would ask her for money that she worked so hard supporting our daughter. She's she's struggling, but she's keeping everything together. But here I am asking her for money, and then I would be like, "I love you," and she'd be like, "No, you don't." And I was like completely appalled that she would even have the audacity to say something like that to me.
How dare you?
But now I know that love is an action word,
Right.
and my actions reflected that. I just didn't care for her, obviously.
Right.
I'm lying to her. I'm lying to my mom. I'm, hitting everyone up for money. I love my daughter, but I'm losing my visits and I don't see her. It's unacceptable, right? So, and that's the big part of addiction. We always want to have meaningful relationships and our actions to represent love for our kids, for our families, for the people that we want in our lives. And when we feel again and we see that our actions reflect we hate everyone, we don't like it, so then we end up getting high and drunk again, and we start the whole cycle over.
Right.
And so you're trying to figure this out as you go, but it takes a while for us all to get there, right? Yeah. And so you end up back in juvenile, right?
Yeah.
And then they send you to another treatment center at 17 years old.
Yep.
What was that treatment center like?
That one was like the loony bin, locked doors, badge keys to get in and out any door. There's some certain addicts, prostitutes, completely severely mentally ill girls stuck in there. And we're all sitting in a circle in group in our soft chairs. And we
soft
lived there.
chairs.
Yeah, we lived.
Nothing had wood in it.
Yeah,
It's all
nothing had
bean
wood in it. It
bags.
was all like really soft chairs. I don't really remember the groups at all. But I just remember there was a lot, because then they do like the booty juice. There were certain girls that would literally lose their minds, to start breaking stuff, trying to fight the staff, and they would hold them down, shot in the butt.
Oh, booty juice.
Yeah, to get them out, to knock them out. It was no if they wanted it or not. It was one of those where it was no choice. They're shooting you in the butt. So there was a lot of that going on.
Did you ever get any booty juice?
No, I wish. No, I didn't. no, I didn't. I was just,
She said, "I
I
wish."
was super lost, man, because when I was on the streets in Phoenix, like I was an adult, like I was homeless, I was on my own, like I did what I wanted to, like I was an adult in my head. And then I go back to treatment where there's locked doors. I have to get called to food every time I'm gonna eat. They bring it to me, or I go to the lunch hall. When I'm back to being a kid again, treated as like a complete messed up little kid. I'm back in the psych ward thing. So it was really rough for me. I don't really remember a lot of it, but they had me on a lot of meds, just trying to figure out what was wrong with me. And it was I just remember a lot of crazy.
Yeah, so you were rolling around there doing the Thorazine shuffle.
Basically lithium too, Seroquel, all of that.
Oh my
was on
God.
all of that.
You look like Haley does Monday morning.
Yeah, basically.
And just shook.
You know
We're the
what?
same.
A weekend with
She's
my
my-
kids, you'd look the same.
Yeah, she's
so.
my spirit animal. Yeah.
It's a rough piece out there.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
is.
and so from there, though, we can look back on it now and talk about a higher power and entering into your life. When we start to really have awareness of God and your path of recovery and whatever you choose to believe, but your spirituality aspect of it. When I look back my whole life, I can see that my higher power was there the whole time.
Right.
And I had all these opportunities, but I never did my part, because recovery is a 50-50 relationship with your higher power. You do the action steps on a day-to-day basis. Your higher power takes care of the outcomes. You did your action steps by completing the program and staying and not running and jumping fences and pulling Ocean's 13.
Yeah.
I mean, in your life, that might have been.
I wanted to, man.
That
I
might have
tried,
been
but there was
Ocean's
barbed wire and
27.
really high fence, and nobody was down, so it was okay.
So you did your part, and ultimately, your higher power, I choose to believe it's God, and puts an amazing lady in your life and foster care, right? And so she actually takes you in. So what was that next time period like when you get taken in? And I assume when we talked about this previously, you said she was loving and she was amazing.
She was.
So she showed you that love, and when we receive love and when we feel love, it gives us, that confidence again, and we know we're going to be okay, and we know we're safe, and it gives us the ability to start to create some positive actions in our life. And so what does that look like for you when you show up over there?
She was amazing. Like, at first I was a little hesitant because I didn't trust anybody, I didn't know what to do. But it was like she had dealt with like problem kids before, and she was just this sweet older woman. She was she wasn't in the program, but she had like 30 or 40 years sober. She used to be a heavy alcoholic. And so she was just amazing. Like, she treated me kind of like an adult. I was 17. I was going to be 18, probably like less than a year. And she just knew what we had to do, and she just helped me every step of the way. Got me signed up for GED classes at the college, got me my little energy drinks to go to class every night, like that kind of woman. And she was amazing. My first car, she helped me. She went with me to go get it, my license. She was actually the one to co-sign for my first apartment. Like, I didn't have anybody to do that for me, and she put her name on the line to do that for me. And so that's just kind of the woman she was. She was amazing. She was loving. She had her own kids that she helped out all the time with her grandkids. And, I don't know, there was nothing bad about her in my eyes. She was amazing. That's what kind of hurts the most, is when I messed up that relationship. Like, that still hurts me to this day that I did that,
Yeah. And so, when we think about that, though, it's because we're in the midst of a physical craving for drugs and alcohol, right? And so we'll do anything. It doesn't matter who it is. Hurt people. We know all the sayings, right? But, I'm not a bad person. I'm a sick person with untreated illness.
Yeah.
The women that you ladies are today, we don't do those things, right?
Exactly.
We pay our bills. Someone does something nice for us. We stand by our word. We keep our commitments.
Yeah.
Haley does most of the time. High percentage.
High percentage rate.
Listen,
Progress, not perfection. We'll weaponize it.
the kids. It definitely is the kids. I do
Blame
try.
the children.
Nah, Haley's amazing.
She is.
I'm just messing with her.
I was gonna say.
And so, a miracle happens in your life. You get your GED, right? You get a license, you get a car, you get an apartment, you got a job, right? And so everything, you're working a program. And you work
severely working your program.
And what's a severe full throttle action program look like? Because you did NA. What's that look like for you? So what was your non-negotiables of your recovery during this time?
Okay, so it was supposed to be no relationships for a year, but we all know what happened with that. But it was like the service commitments every week, chairing the meetings, opening the meeting doors, making the coffee, driving anybody that needed a ride to the meeting. With my sponsor, she was heavily in the program. She had, I don't even know how many sponsors she had, but it was a lot. She was kind of like you in that sense, but for the NA program, conventions all the time, chairing the meetings, taking girls through the steps. And it was like a whole family, it really was. Like, it was really tight-knit, stay in the middle of the herd, don't fall off, And it was really good for a time, It was really good.
And your life reflected that, the blessings, the promises that come every single time.
Yeah, it did.
But the NA steps ain't no joke. You ever broke open that workbook?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Before I stopped doing any steps at all, I did NA.
You did
I
NA?
always made it to step 6 and it was done.
I mean,
Relapse.
step 1 has
69 questions.
It's
60,
literally the most in-depth workbook that I've ever
really
worked on,
is.
and I
Green
still
gold.
am grateful for it today.
Yeah, I mean, the NA steps are amazing.
Yeah.
Typically what I do is I take my guys through the big book, and if they want to like redouble their efforts or continue, then I'll break out the NA step working guide, because
Get more
that
in-depth.
really, I mean,
Those bullet points, yeah.
it ain't no
You
joke.
gotta number them. You have to number them.
Yeah, any program, it doesn't matter what A it is, you
Right.
know. That's what's most important. Figure out one, find a path, work it like your life depends upon it. And that's what you did. But then what ends up happening is, where were you working at?
Murphy's. I was a server.
Oh, shout out Murphy's.
Yeah. I love that place to this day.
Like Padre Murphy's?
No, so it's a fine dining establishment in Prescott, Arizona.
Fine dining establishment.
We wore a tie, button-up shirt, obviously, and long aprons or short ones, whatever you wanted to do. And it was like the red wine, the white wine, the
like
fish,
you pull,
the prime rib.
you drop the plate from the right side, you pull from the left, the forks. I used to work.
How do you know that, Haley?
Because I used to be a server.
At a fine dining.
Yes, so there's fine dining, and then there's like the regular mom and pop.
We used to do weddings and all that different. Yeah.
So it's one of the nicer
button-up
places.
shirt. I know exactly what you're talking about. White button-up shirt, a little tie.
Yeah. I learned how to tie a tie. I can tie a tie.
You didn't know that?
Well, I mean, I've been to fine dining establishments. It's just shocking to me that you knew that. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, you get your spoon up here. You got your coffee cup, your water cup, your wine cup. Yeah.
All of that.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
That's nice.
It was a great place.
Okay, but what ends up happening is you meet a guy.
Yeah, the cook.
The cook.
It always happens like that. Yeah. So I met him, and he was, I'm sure he's a good person to this day, but he was not very attractive. I guess he was, to me. He was just like the bad boy that smoked weed, drank. He was cool. He was funny. That's the kind of guy that I always went towards. And here I am working this program and then spending every waking second that I had with him at his house. And he smokes weed and he drinks and, very mentally abusive emotionally. I'm sure he didn't know that he was doing that at the time, but that's exactly what it was, a complete narcissist, And so eventually I stopped going to meetings. I give up my service commitments, I don't make it there. I'm with him, And, that's just what happens in every relationship that I've ever been in. Like, he becomes my everything, my
your
whole
higher
world.
power.
Yeah, my higher power, exactly. And, and I want to get away from him, basically. So I just go straight back to drugs, and I'm shooting up heroin again. And he thinks I'm crazy, and he leaves, and that's how I got away from him,
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense to
I
you.
was the crazy one.
I know exactly what you're talking
You
about.
don't want to be with me? Fine, I have this. And then it was okay, because before I couldn't fathom him leaving me. And then when I'm shooting up, I'm like, leave. I don't give a fuck.
Bye.
Right.
Yeah,
See
bye.
ya.
Yeah, exactly.
As
That's
Casey's
exactly
telling
what
that story, Haley's like, "Oh yeah, I get that. That's totally,
100%. Yeah.
totally." So just the full scope of it. So he smokes weed, he drinks. You're in the program. You're still sober, and he's abusive mentally and emotionally and everything. And so you say to yourself, "Well, I'm gonna push him away. So
Exactly.
I'm gonna show him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start shooting heroin in my neck."
Yeah.
It makes
And
sense.
Haley-
It really
Makes
does.
sense. It really does. Yeah, he's gone, so whatever.
And Haley goes, yeah.
Maybe it's because I understand where she's coming from.
Nah, I
How
get
to
it
get
too.
out 101.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
shave your head in a mental breakdown. Just scare the crap out of them when they come home and you're completely bald.
Yeah, so
And I mean, I did that. So
yeah.
Exactly.
Just,
So Britney Spears went Haley.
She copied
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, she did copy you.
I literally
We did it
yeah.
first.
And so now you're using again. You're on a sick one, and then what we always do is
Right.
meet another guy, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there was a couple more before him, but the main one was Chris. So yeah, I was in love. Like I thought he was like my star, what's it called? Star seeker. Or like we were match made in heaven, like we were meant
soulmate?
yeah, soulmate. I thought he was my soulmate, And then from there we just go full throttle, we're selling drugs. I mean, he's doing the drugs. He's selling drugs. I'm just there looking cute, I thought I was cute.
Were you looking cute?
I thought I was shit.
She's all sucked up.
Yeah, we got
cereal out of her collarbones.
Like we were that kind of in love. We thought we were gonna make it, And so there's that. We're doing a lot of meth and heroin. Like he was mostly heroin, and I always wanted some meth in there. I needed that sprinkle of meth in the shot.
That way you could sit in front of a long mirror,
Yeah.
Indian style, with all this makeup scattered
It's
everywhere.
actually in the sink in the bathroom where I reside.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for 7 hours.
For literally
Yeah.
2 days, and then
Yeah.
you finally get up and you're like, ugh. You've
Curtains
been
up, you can't
literally
move.
sitting in the same position.
For hours.
You got one lash on.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
One left. That's it.
And so, when we become chronic alcoholics, addicts, and we're using together, or any sort of codependent relationship, especially with drug users, you know, the consequences end up piling up on us. You know, we can sell some drugs and things might be good, but it always goes so bad.
Right.
Yes.
And so it starts to go so bad, and you know, he ends up going to prison, right? He catches a case, he goes to prison, you know, now you're pretty much homeless on the streets.
Yeah.
You need, you know, again, right? And are you in Phoenix during this period of time?
No, we were in Prescott.
Oh, so at least
Yeah.
it's a lot cooler up there.
Yeah.
Or colder.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Would you rather be homeless hot or homeless cold?
Cold. I've been homeless in the summer.
But when it's
And
like
it sucks.
0 degrees and it's freezing,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe-
there is no
maybe
getting
not.
out.
I'd rather be hot
Yeah.
than cold.
Yeah.
And so you end
Get a
up
nice tan.
you end up going to detox, and then you go to a psych ward, right?
Yeah.
Like what kind of psych ward?
Where you can try an AMA, but they're not gonna let you. There's gonna be like a court date, and you're gonna have to wait for that, and they're gonna severely med you up again, and you're not leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying to boost from Walmart. They got asset protection over there at this psych ward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm good. I'm leaving, and they're like, No, you're not. Actually, you can try and leave, but you're not.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you know you end up going to the psych ward, and you start to get your your life back together again, and then you know who gets released,
He does. Yeah, he gets released,
and then
yeah, go right back to him. So I was out of sober living, and then he's out, and I have him pick me up, and things are great, and we got a plant. And then I never go back to that sober living, and my stuff's on the sidewalk, and I try to go to work the next day. Didn't sleep. I was so high on meth. It was insane. And I'm trying to wait tables high on meth, and my table asked me, they're like, are you high? And I'm like, no, I wish I was. And I was fired like an hour later. So yeah.
yeah, they frown upon that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
now I have no
Most
place to
places
live,
do.
no job, no car, all in a matter of 24 hours after getting back together with him, you know?
I mean, it's crazy how when we relapse, we think that we can go back to when it was fun. And
Right.
when was that for me, Haley?
1997.
Yep.
That's when I was born.
Oh my goodness,
You're an old man.
I am old.
Yeah.
I'll be
That's
40.
okay, Jason. That one high school party.
Yes, and so
Yeah.
that's where I go back. I
Right.
think that it can, I can control it. I can enjoy it. It'll be fun again. But the thing is, every single bit of everything, progress and self-worth and material possessions, all fits in one rig. And as soon as boom, it's all gone.
Right.
Exactly.
And it happens quicker and quicker because it's progressive illness.
Right.
It gets worse, never better, and left untreated causes death. So it goes real bad for you guys.
Yeah.
And ultimately you guys get arrested again.
Exactly.
And what ends up happening to him?
So he gets 3.5. They throw the book at him, basically.
I mean,
yeah, not really throw the book, but they were done. There was no getting out of
yeah,
that one.
he's going to prison now.
Yeah, for sure. And I was really hopeful that he wouldn't, but he did. And so I get 90 days in jail and drug court, and I just started doing the drug court shuffle, as you said.
Oh my
you know?
God, drug court. Do you know anything
Yeah.
about drug court, Haley?
Yeah.
Other than helping
Court
clients
every 2
with
weeks,
it,
and yeah. It's a
So
shit
you
show.
got to go classes. You got to go to court.
IOP, all of that.
You got to go to IOP groups.
6 months of sober living.
6 months sober living. You got to take UAs. And every time you have any sort of violation, they call them technical violations. They
start
send-
over.
No, yeah, well, yeah, they
That you won't phase up. Yeah.
you won't phase up. But what they do is they send you to county jail. They're like, oh, give them 6
little
days.
2 days, a
Yeah.
little 1 day if you're lucky.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, sometimes 2 weeks. Yeah.
So you're bouncing in and out and in and out.
Yeah.
And finally, because of all the different, issues you had on drug court, they say you need inpatient treatment, right?
Well, it wasn't inpatient treatment, but it was it's very, very strict sober living called Winter.
Winner.
Yeah, Women in New Recovery.
Oh,
Shout
let me
out.
know something then, you
Yeah.
winner.
It was. So it's
You guys are both
boy
winners today.
band.
Thanks, Jason.
Did you
Thank
say
you.
boy band?
Yeah, so there's boy band, no phone. You walk everywhere
Oh,
you go.
for some reason
You
I was
have
like,
you get up at
Like
6
he's
in the
thinking
morning.
NSYNC was there.
I'm like,
Yeah,
what?
I wish. Recovery in sync. Yeah.
But go back to that. So tell us all about the stipulations and the rules that were there.
I kind of remember. So, I remember. Who am I kidding? So we get up early in the morning and you do a group. And these are like the accountability queens. Like you don't get up, you're getting told on. You're getting in trouble. No phones are allowed for at least like the 60 days. And then there's the boy band. You walk everywhere you go. You have to get a job, obviously, and you have to get your chore done before you leave anywhere. No cups on your little nightstand. You can't have anything on your nightstand. Bed has to be made, and I was like, I feel like I'm in jail again. And that's what we always think,
Yeah,
And,
and that's what they think at all of our facilities.
Yeah, I
Right.
think I'm in jail. I'm not in
Yeah,
prison.
why don't you go spend some
Yeah.
days in jail and then come back and
Yeah,
tell me
Exactly.
Yeah, I
how
mean,
it is?
you know, we have, of course, we have the residential, we have the 2 PHP houses, we have the 5 sober living houses,
Right.
we got the IOP here, and we have beautiful, amazing facilities, and we
Right.
have the same sort of rules, right? And they always think it's the end of the world, right? But when they walk into our facilities and they feel it and they see it and they're like, wow, this is great.
Right.
It's because of those rules.
Yeah, exactly.
And then otherwise, I got to call Haley, and Haley's got to come over, and you don't want those
Give 'em a
problems.
little
They know better when I
Yeah.
get called into a meeting.
Mama bear. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not good for them.
Yeah, you don't want those problems.
No.
But they get them.
Yeah, they get them
Every
though.
once in
They
a
a
while. Yeah.
And every now and then I got to get turned up, and then it's out of my
Jason's
character.
even
Double
worse.
trouble.
Yeah. Dad comes
The
in.
vein popping out.
Yeah, dad comes in, mom's already pissed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so you
funny.
you do great while you're there, you know, and you do great, but you had, you know, maybe a reservation, if you call it, you know, and, you know,
Yeah.
you weren't really done yet, right? But you
No.
did good in a structured environment. That's what the structure's for.
Right.
And so you end up getting picked up and in a car, and do you get arrested right away after you get out of there, or how
No.
quick?
So I actually did good for a little bit after I went there. I moved in with a girl. We were in this apartment. I was doing good, working.
Like a friend girl or like a girlfriend?
No, it was just a friend. It was just a friend. I wasn't, well, yeah, it was just a friend.
Jason.
No, it was just a friend, but I had multiple people there and it just depended on the week, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
It sounds really bad, but it's what it was.
Okay.
And so
I get it. That's why I'm laughing.
You guys are so much alike right here.
you know, it's just sad because when you're looking for love in all the wrong
Right.
places and you don't want it, but you want it, and then you don't want
It's
it again.
validation. It's
Yeah,
it's a
it's
sick
just
way to
validation.
validate
Yeah.
yourself.
And
That's
peop-
really what it is. We had
it
low
is.
self-worth.
Yeah,
We were
it's
trying to
really sad.
validate ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And so I keep going. I think it was at work. I was with another guy. I wasn't with him, but he was getting high. I knew he was getting high, so I wanted to be in on this. You know, I had a car at the time. I was doing good. I had money. And then I started getting high every weekend, you know, and it all just crashes and burns. And I go to jail, and I think I got out. I was a 2-day sanction. I got out, and I had a dirty rig still in my purse. I got pulled over for speeding, and the cop he searches my car, he finds it, and I was like, can we just let this go? Like, I'm not high right now. I swear on everything I'm not.
You know how many times I hear that?
Yeah, I know, exactly. But he was really not, like, this guy saved my life. I know he did, because if he would have let me go, I would have been done for, you know? But yeah, I get arrested and I show back up into drug court because I'm still in drug court, but I have to go for this new case. And the judge doesn't even look at me. He revokes everything. He says, he didn't sentence me, but he just revokes me off of everything.
Yeah, and
know?
so when you go to drug court, you see the same judge every time. I
Yeah,
mean, they
Judge John
know
Napper.
you.
Right.
Yeah,
Who
he
is
wrote-
it?
John Napper. He wore a little bow
Oh,
tie.
Shout out John
Aw.
Napper.
He was awesome. Dude. He was so good. When I was doing good, we were cool, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, we always think that our probation officers are out to get us, but
Yeah.
when we
They're just
actually,
doing their job.
yeah, and when we actually do good and we're doing the right things,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually there to help. Like we could
Right.
actually utilize our probation officer for
Yep.
resources and
Exactly.
support and so many different things. But I have this misconception they're out to get me. But
Right.
the thing
Trying to
is,
catch me slipping.
yeah, but I'm super slipping.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
failing
Exactly.
UAs. I'm not paying a dime.
Trying to buy the smoke shop clean your
Oh, my-
system. I drank those all the time.
They
It was
never
so-
work.
I mean, I was like, I don't know why my pee's diluted again. I must not be eating right. You know,
Yeah,
so
that-
many different excuses.
They
It was
never
sad.
work.
It was so sad.
But you said one thing that's important. You said he saved your life, right?
did.
And
He
so
did.
you catch a 3.5-year prison sentence, and during this prison sentence, you find real recovery. We're not talking about relief because you had relief all those
Right.
other times,
Yeah,
but you
exactly.
mistake it for recovery. And so you actually find recovery this time, and you find it through the NA steps. So why don't you talk a little bit about what it was like to truly, honestly, and thoroughly work the steps? Haley, pay attention. You might want to pay attention to this part.
So
Yeah,
this is
write
where
notes.
it's funny is because, you know, you always hear people say they left something out on their forcep. And I didn't want to believe that, but it's so true to this day because I had always made it to step 6 and then I relapsed, step 6, relapse, whatever. You know, but I was in prison. We're all in Orange. We're all doing the same thing. I actually know the lady that was my sponsor at the time. I knew her from Prescott. So she kind of knew about me a little bit, but that's why I chose her. She's took me through the steps and it was long, drawn out, pages and pages and pages, you know? And on that 4th step, when I told her, like, the things that I was going to take to the grave, how everybody says that, but this
Right.
is like snots coming out of my nose. I
Snot
can't even,
bubbles.
I can't even speak the words that I'm about to say, you know? And I finally just spit it out and I tell her and she's like, all right, okay, on to the next, you know what I mean? And she just pushes me through it. And she's like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. You were literally making yourself sick thinking about it, you know? And that's what it is though, you know? Like I couldn't spit the words out. It was so hard, you know? Once I finally did that, we worked through them a little bit more, and each step got a little bit better and easier, kind of. You know, step 6 is always hard for me. And, you know, I made some amends, and I did all this right before I got out of prison, so it was really good for me that I actually pushed through, and I did not want to leave prison without finishing it, you know, because I'd never finished my steps before. And then, yeah, that's what happened.
So you did it, you know, and that's why, you know, the 4 and a 5, you know, getting all, it says in the big book, you know, having persevered the rest of the program, they wonder why they fell. They, you know, never completed their house cleaning. I mean, you got your house cleaned, right, Haley?
Always.
Just not your car, though.
Just not my car.
Dirty car.
I mean, the car looks like you've been working a homeless
car,
outreach.
Dude, my car's disgusting.
That's not even your job.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
definitely, this for sure is the kids. They are just disgusting.
Why is it always the
little
kids,
turds.
Haley?
Well,
Denial.
listen, it is my fault because my kids are not disciplined enough, apparently. So they just do what they want.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know
Another
it's a problem.
podcast, another time.
We're working
cute,
on
it's
it.
Fine.
They
They're
are cute. They are
That's all
cute.
that matters is they're cute.
And so you get ready to get released, and this time you're ready. You have a
exactly.
plan, you're ready. But you're at this crossroads, right, where you can actually go to your grandmother's house or you can go to New Freedom. You got 2 different options, you know, and typically, you know, I always want to go back to mom and dad's. I always
Right,
want to take the easy way, right? Because it's
Exactly.
easy, but I have short-term success. So what we learn in recovery is we have to take the harder route for long-term success.
Right.
So you end up going to New Freedom. What was that like?
So it was really interesting because my grandma's address was already approved and I pulled it, you know, so that was like a huge turning point for me. And I get to New Freedom and I mean, shout out New Freedom. I love New Freedom with all my heart. You know, it really saved my life. The therapist that I had, like all the groups, like sometimes it got repetitive and I was definitely a bad kid towards the end. You know, I would just sign in and leave and go vape in my room.
Oh my God.
That was me. So I get it when the clients are like, I don't want to be here. I'm like, I get it. Trust me, I get it.
Oh,
you know?
do.
I was the one, you know, but I really just like the therapist that I had, she was so amazing. Like the trauma that we worked through and like the self-worth that we built there. Like, and then, you know, I met a guy, you know,
Shout out, Matt.
yeah, shout out Matt. I love you, babe. Bye.
Yeah, big
You know?
shout
She
out.
says bye.
Bye. You know, and I met him and, you know, and I always knew like the rehab romance thing was like a joke and it never lasts. And I thought it was like, oh, is this what it's going to be? And it's not, you know, and it's turned out really good and we're in love. We're, you know, we're building a life together and we're making something of ourselves. So it's really neat. Like, it's really neat to me, you know.
That's awesome.
And the cool thing is you both are in sober living still.
Mm-hmm.
You both left the facility and chose to do your own
Oh,
thing
but
and you're still working on yourself.
Their sober livings are right next door to each other.
Well,
They really
I tried to give her an out. I was trying to help her out.
No,
Thanks,
there's no out
Jason.
for this. I knew it was coming.
I mean, God knows what's
They
happening
literally
after hours.
sneak in
God.
into each other's windows.
Actually, it's allowed, but it's fine. You know, you
It's
get the
fine.
concept.
But either way, you know, there's no set, you know, way that we have to meet
Right.
someone here. Or, you know,
Exactly.
typically it doesn't work out. But when 2 individuals understand what a healthy relationship looks
Right.
like and are willing to put in the work and implement those characteristics into the relationship, you can meet someone anywhere if
Exactly.
you're
Right.
both on the same page.
Exactly.
And so it's really
Mentally and
cool.
spiritually and emotionally, you know?
Yeah. And,
All of those things have to go in together.
and it's working, and I'm really happy for you guys. Big
you.
shout out. And
Yeah.
and so you end up graduating from New Freedom. You know, you get into a relationship. You guys are both in sober living, and you know, you're working the steps, and you're being asked to be of service. Anytime anyone ever calls you, you're there. It's the same thing working here.
Right.
And everything has just continued to get better for you, and we're just getting warmed up. And you know, you're getting ready to celebrate 2 years of recovery.
Yeah, on my birthday. Yeah.
I mean-
July 21st.
1997. Shout out.
Shit, 97 was a good year.
Shout out Jason.
Yeah.
In his prime.
Poor Jason.
And it was a good year. And
I know, I was 4.
I was born.
oh my God, I feel like I could be your guys'
Wait till somebody's
dad.
like, I was born in 2000. I'm like, what?
When I see
Yeah,
clients come
exactly.
in and I see that, I'm like, oh my God, that's when I
They're babies.
graduated high school.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you find yourself here at Sanctuary. You come in for an interview, and you do remember what that moment was like when you came in here. You did an interview, and you know, and you just feel home. It was just like your calling, your passion. I mean, what was that moment like for you when you walked in the doors?
You know, it was amazing because Yolanda wasn't here, the person I was supposed to interview with. So I interviewed with Haley, and we just hit it off. Like, we really did. You know, and we just vibed, and it was good. And she really wanted me to work here. You know, she
Gave
said
her
she
some
really,
pointers.
Yeah, about my outfit. Whatever, it happens. But you know what really brought me to Sanctuary was like Tony, and everybody that I saw here was just super happy and
Right.
just like you just felt it in your heart, you know. And I was like, I want this. I need this, you know. And my life's completely changed since then. Like I'm so much happier. It's insane, you know.
Yeah, and everything's continue to get better for you, and it doesn't stop. You know, I've been on a pink cloud for 4.5 years, just about, and I hate when people say, "Well, I was on a pink cloud, but I came off." Well, in my experience, as long as you continue to do what you did to be there
Right.
and receive those blessings and the promises, then all you got to do is keep doing your part.
Right.
But things do happen. Life happens to
Yeah.
everybody, you know, and we all
Yes.
struggle, some with mental illness, you know, like sometimes everything could be going right and you're still not okay, you know?
Right.
There's a lot that goes into it that you have to really work on.
And so, but every time I think about when life happens, it's like it's not as bad as it was.
Right.
Exactly.
You can find gratitude in anything as long as you're sober.
Yeah, exactly.
Gratitude is the attitude. That is my number one saying.
Yay, cliche.
I have a cliche that I remember.
What was it?
Gratitude
She remembers. It's been so long.
It's terrible. Gratitude is the attitude. I find gratitude in everyday life.
And that's our
As long as I
job,
stay sober.
right? If we perceive things, how quick does it take us to
Right.
get to the solution, to find gratitude? And so, you know, you're here, you do transports for us. You're able to teach some groups. You're involved in, you know, your BHT. You do transport. I mean, anytime I ever call you, you don't just transport for IOP. You do the PHP houses, the residential,
Yep.
admissions.
I'm in the trenches.
You are in the trenches.
Well, and what's cool is she's getting ready to be a house manager for Safe and Sound. They're about to open their first women's house, so that's, you know, a blessing right there. Not
It
having
is.
to pay rent and
Beautiful
just helping.
house.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you'll be
helping
able to
people
help.
out.
You'll be able to help.
5 minutes away.
Yeah, you'll be able to help some females there and just continue to be a part of and be of service. And I know I could always count on you. You know, I like to call you. I know we got the same
6
calendar.
in the morning, 7 in the morning.
I call you real early, and
He
I know
does it
I-
with me too.
Yeah.
It's fine. He just
yeah,
thinks
I'm up
it's
early,
funny.
and I know that I can count on you, and I know you have a calendar that I could look up and see what you got scheduled, but I just call you.
Anyways,
And
yeah.
you never give me any crap for it, and
Yeah.
you always add to the calendar, and I know I don't have to remind you, and I know you're going to be here, and we know we can just count on
Right.
you, and it's just been a blessing to have you as part of our team.
Thank you.
Where do you see yourself, you know, in the future or growing? I know you're young, and it's like I want to do all these things, and I'm trying to figure out my purpose and my path, but where do you see yourself just moving forward? What vision do you have?
So for me, I've always like my people are like the ones that are in prison and like the addicts, you know, like I want to be out there like getting them off the street, and I want to, you know, I want to move up in this company obviously, but like I just need to be out there with them, and like the reentry kind of stuff that happens, you know, like that's where my heart like brings me to, like that's like a personal thing for me, you know, because my family and my dad, you know, and that's what I've always seen myself doing is like maybe like the clinical side and like the therapy, you know, but I need to see like the results. I need to see these people getting better and helping them, that it's actually helping them, you know?
Yeah, and so you want to be out there in the trenches.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, and you are now, but you
where
want to
I'm
be
at.
out there like
Like
Yeah.
legit in the trenches.
Like I want to get these homeless people off the street and see them
I
get
can
a
agree,
job, you
yeah.
know? Like I want to see them be better, you know? I don't want to just put them somewhere. Like I want to see that they're having a good life.
You want to see the
know?
results.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, you know, and witnessing a miracle is what it's all about. And
Right.
that's why we work here. We get to witness miracles
All the time.
all
Yeah.
the time. And when I see that and when I feel that, you know, it spiritually charges me up, and I almost become spiritually intoxicated by witnessing
Right.
miracles
Yeah.
and the power of my higher power working through everyone.
Right.
And so it's just been a blessing to have you as part of with us and with this company, and to watch you grow in this short period of time, and see the possibilities going forward, and to see your heart and everything that you do. You know, I'm just extremely grateful that, you know, you're on
too.
our team and I can call you a friend.
I'm glad I got to do your interview. And
Yes.
I mean, Haley
I
did
gave
your
her
interview.
a huge.
Oh,
I gave her a huge shout out to
Yeah.
Yolanda and Tony.
We just
did.
vibed, you know?
We
As
did.
soon as
We
we
totally
met,
vibed.
And Haley
You know
doesn't
I'm not
like
a
women.
hugger.
Yeah,
You know I'm not a hugger, and I struggle with women. And I gave her a hug the first time
yeah.
we met.
Yeah.
She still
Okay.
tries to give me hugs.
I
all the
do
time.
give her hugs actually all the time. I just make it happen.
Oh, we definitely have a
Right.
family type.
Yeah, we do.
We do,
You know,
for sure.
with all of our staff members, you know, we genuinely care. We want
We
to
do.
be here. We love each other, and we want to just help. We just want to see everyone, not just our clients, but our employees succeed as well. And so
Yep.
I can't wait to see what your success looks like going forward with the company. So it's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yay, thank you,
Haley,
guys.
where can you find us at?
We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify,
TikTok.
Apple Music now, and TikTok, all at Sanctuary Recovery Centers.
Yeah, go out there, like our stuff. Our
Yeah.
episodes drop every Friday. Share it, like it, get the message out there. Leave us comments. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, reach out to Haley, reach
Yep.
out to myself. You know, if you need help, call the admissions line. What's the phone number, Haley?
It's 480-309-9945.
If you have a family member or a loved one struggling, man, reach out to us. If you need help, we'll help you find a place,
Yes.
any place,
Even if we're full, we help refer out no matter what.
every single time. So tune in to another episode of Sanctuary Radio. They'll be dropping every Friday. And thank you, Casey, for
Thank
being
you
on
so
the show.
much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you.